Radio. 1, 2. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is the Superbike Show. It's Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Hey up. Yes, we're back, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. All the stuff from the hashtag Dutch GP in MotoGP, and this weekend it's World Superbikes, Donington Park, and we've got, as I say, a lot to get through. Joining me on tonight's show, Lewis Ray. Hello, good evening, Lewis. How are you?
Evening, Lester. I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I didn't go on a holiday and just get back today, but I'm all right. Lewis just went on a holiday, got back today, by the way. So it was a late night drive. You may be dropping like 1,000 references. It was time yesterday, I was on the plane back, etc. and stuff. And I might also find some pictures of him when he actually got on a supremely powerful MotoGP bike. More about that a bit later if I can find it. Jay King's back on the show. Hello, good evening, Jay.
Hello, it's great to be back. I've missed you guys so much.
Liar, you absolute liar. Jay's been away getting drunk apparently, and just that.
Dressing up in Sonic outfits, actually.
I won't ask, whatever. not judging. And also on the show in a short while, we have the rider who's going to be making an appearance at Donington Park this weekend as part of the British Junior Supersport Championship. He's leading at the moment. It is Finn Smart-Weeden. He's on the show coming up live later on. That's going to be good. So, because we're live on the Superbike Show, unless you downloaded this and listened to us not live, you can get in touch with us and have your say. We're live on the Facebook BSB fans and support class Facebook group on there. There's 20,000 odd and stuff people. Hello, by the way. And also on Motorsport Radio on YouTube, on the website, and on Facebook as well. And on Twitch as well. We always have like one person tune in on Twitch. I always forget to promote it, to be honest. But let us know. Hashtag Motorsport Radio, hashtag The Superbike Show this evening. And we start with, let's start with MotoGP. Lewis, what's been happening?
Yeah, so the Dutch GP has just finished with Ducati dominance once again at Assen, with Marco Bezzecchi and Bagnaia going head-to-head during both the sprint race and the main race throughout the weekend. And Fabio Quartararo, he managed to claim his first podium of the season at Assen after having a tough weekend after he broke his toe after falling while running in Amsterdam during the break. Jake Dixon in Moto2, though, surprised the whole UK by taking his first ever Moto2 race win in the dominant fashion with pretty much everyone in the UK is absolutely buzzing for him. He was dominant the whole weekend. Jeremy Masia in Moto3, he took the race win for the Leopard Honda team after an epic 10 bikes scrap for the race win, which went down to the final corner. And now MotoGP enters its 5-week summer break, where riders such as Marc Marquez are going to have time to repair their bodies after he suffered even more crashes at Assen. He didn't make the start for the feature race, and he continues his tally of not finishing one feature race at all this season. So now we're questioning what is going to happen to Marc Marquez over the next couple of months.
Indeed, what is going to happen to Marc Marquez over the next couple of months? Is his career basically over now? Is he, the more he keeps crashing, the more he devalues himself, really. I mean, why would Ducati ever touch him with a barge pole? Not that they were officially considering him anyway, but they were unofficially not talking to him, allegedly. And he could also just do the unexpected and just maybe take a year out for, hashtag mental health reasons. Because he's a danger to himself at the moment, is old Marquez, and the rest of the field as well. But do you disagree? Do you agree? Let us know. Hashtag Motorsport Radio, hashtag The Superbike Show, and we will delve a bit more deeper into that topic a bit later on. But on some happier news, Jake Dixon, Moto2 winner, a very emotional first win, and we reposted his winning interview on Motorsport Radio. I'm sure you saw it on BT Sport as well. Fantastic news, Jay.
Yeah, it was really good to see Jake finally win a race. I think we all remember that race a couple of years back in Le Mans where he was leading, had quite a comfortable gap as well, and crashed at the final corner. And we could see like the absolute heartbreak he had when it happened there. I think he was on the Petronas bike back then. Since then, he's had quite a few podiums, quite a few crashes as well. But at Assen, in practice, he was on top of the timesheets. Qualifying, he was a bit unlucky not to get pole because there were quite a few yellow flags when he was on fast laps and things like that. And even in the race, he didn't particularly make it, or through non-faults of his own, really, didn't make it that easy for him. Obviously, Pedro Costa did that amazing save in the final chicane that did mess him up and it let Aigura get away a little bit. He did take the lead once and then went into a false neutral, into the tight hairpin. So he had loads of opportunities to make it easier for him. But eventually, finally, he came through and got his first Moto2 win. I think the whole of motorsport in England, Great Britain, was so pleased for him that he finally did it. And what a better time to do it, to go into get your first race win when you're about to go to your home Grand Prix in Silverstone. I don't think it could have come at a better time.
Exactly, and as lots of people sometimes point out that motorsport, especially MotoGP or BSB, is never shown on mainstream TV. You never see it on like BBC Breakfast. Well, Monday morning, you did. They did a report on Jake Dixon, and I was like, oh, well, look at this. It's on TV. But why wouldn't it be? Because it's a big bit of news, isn't it? So congratulations to Jake, his family and the team. And it was just a fantastic feel-good moment, I think, for everyone. And Lewis, you were watching it in some Irish bar in Spain, obviously, I think.
No, it was just a sports bar. That one was at an Irish bar.
Sorry.
But yeah, we luckily found a bar actually 2 minutes away from the hotel that's showing MotoGP on like 8 screens. So yeah, really great to see Jake Dixon get his first win. It was an emotional win. I haven't spoke to one person who's not absolutely buzzing for him. He's worked so hard for it, and yeah, basically just echoing what Jay said, it's just so great to see. And yeah, he's going to summer break now as well with the added confidence and with the feel-good factor of getting that first race win. So he should hopefully transfer that over to his training over the next couple of months and come to Silverstone fighting form. But yeah, there was points in the race, as you mentioned, Jay, with the false neutral at the hairpin just before the back straight, where it looked like he was starting to make some mistakes and starting to push himself a bit too hard, and maybe that pressure of the first race win was getting to him. But now that pressure is all off his shoulder, and now it's just going to be a question of, can he repeat it and can he carry that confidence into his riding to be able to make it into multiple race wins this season?
Yeah, and as many people understandably suggesting or wanting this to be the case, maybe it's the first of many. The floodgates, Jay, might have opened now for Jake.
Yeah, I think I've got a feeling. We don't want to put too much pressure on him, but hopefully this is going to be like a bus now, and they start coming in quite regularly now. He's going to be so up for Silverstone. He's going to be so pumped for it in front of his home crowd. The crowd are all going to be behind him as well.
There's going to be more people there to watch him as well, I think.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. And obviously, we can't forget we've got Sam there as well. So it looks like it's going to be his final year in Moto2 this year, because there are massive rumours going about now that he's going to go to World Superbikes with the team that he's with at the moment. So Sam's really going to be up for it as well, because obviously this could be his final chance to win a home Grand Prix. So we could see 2 Brits battling for the lead, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing announced with Sam Lowe's, I don't think. What actually, Lewis, you've been probably keeping a closer eye on this, but what's anyone said regarding that and the latest, if anything?
Yeah, there's not been too much of the past couple of weeks. The last time we had was Alex Lowe's basically just hinting at the fact that it would be great for his brother to be on the same grid as him, and it looks like that could be the case next season. But yeah, the rumours floating about are with the Mark VDS team potentially switching to World Superbike with Sam Lowe's, and there's also, of course, rumours that Alex Lowe's might be out the factory Kawasaki team next season. So could we potentially see an all Lowe's team? We're going to have to wait and find out. But yeah, there was going into, well, probably in the middle of the weekend, actually, there was rumours surrounding Moto2 and Moto3 in general as a class, with the fact that Pirelli are going to come in next year and replace Dunlop as a sole tyre supplier. So potentially all these riders in Moto2 this year, Moto3 this year, as soon as this tyre switches, or which is meant to switch to the Pirelli, we could see completely new riders coming to the forefront of it. So someone like Sam Lowes, it might not suit his favours, and maybe just going to World Superbikes and having a complete new start might be the best option for him next season, because of course, he's at that age now where it doesn't look like MotoGP teams are going to want to put their money down and hire him for the season, because it seems that MotoGP now, all they're looking for is the youngest riders possible.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't see that many Moto2. It's been a bit quiet for the moving up from Moto2 to MotoGP the last couple of seasons. And I think it could be, again, the same this winter. I think the only rider, and he's pretty much said he's not staying in Moto2, he's moving up, is Pedro Acosta. So he looks like he's going to be the one who moves up to MotoGP next year. We have no idea what team he's going to. I think KTM would be a bit stupid not to find a position for him. But yeah,
I think he did definitely say something over the weekend. I think he did announce.
He basically said he doesn't want to stay in Moto2. MotoGP is where he want to be.
I'll try and find the exact quote that he said, but
if I remember right, it was something along the lines of Moto2 is not an option. Or something like that. Yeah, but
it sounded very definite.
Yeah, it sounds like if KTM do not find the space for him,
he has somewhere.
Yeah, he has somewhere to go to and leave them mid-contract. But of course, Augusto Fernandez, he only has a 1-year contract for his MotoGP ride, so that expires at the end of this season. So it depends if he would be willing to take a gas seat, or if he would want KTM to switch about the likes of Jack Miller and Brad Binder for him.
And there's also the rumours going out about that KTM could have another team in MotoGP, because what I've heard, the rumours is that they're going to make another team, and maybe that could be a slot for Marquez to go into, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, some conspiracy theorist suggested maybe Marquez might even want to set up his own team or do something.
Don't know. Obviously, he's got the big Red Bull sponsorship. Obviously, KTM follow Red Bull. So I think if there was a team he was going to go to, it would be KTM at the moment. I don't think Ducati have any desire to take him, really. I think they've got good enough bike and good enough riders not to have to need Marquez, where KTM, I think, would like the signature of Marquez, because that would just be that little. I still think he's the best rider on the grid, and I think if he was on a Ducati, he would win.
What do you base that on?
I just with the way he rides, it's really hard to look at it at this moment, because he's injured all the time, because he's riding a bike that is not good enough, and Marquez has no filter. He has to ride. He rides at the limit 100% of the time. And if he hasn't got the bike to do that, he is going to crash all the time. So that's where, in my opinion, that's where
other riders tend to sort of manage it and ride around problems a little bit.
Marquez wants to win. He doesn't want to be finishing where Taka Nakagami is, does he?
Well, you can be finishing in 6th or finishing in the hospital.
Yeah, that's not Marquez's DNA. I'm sorry to say, it's win or nothing for Marquez.
He might end up with nothing.
Yeah, but I think he would rather retire than come in 8th, 9th place. So I think his Honda contract will come to an end early. And
he's going to get fired, isn't he?
I don't think he'll get fired. Honda would be stupid to fire. They'll keep him there as long as possible if they could.
Well, when you say his contract is going to come to an end early, he doesn't want it. I mean, why would he? I mean, he's got nowhere better to go at the moment. Otherwise, he's got nowhere better to go. With every single crash, he's diminishing his value, his worth, for every prospective team that he might want to go to. They're looking at him and thinking, well, Yeah, I'm not going to pay that. Yeah, you used to be, but you're losing it. You're losing the plot. You keep crashing. You never.
Even if the worst case scenario happens, and say he was back at Silverstone and he crashes in every race till the end of the season, I can guarantee UK still want him.
Who was that? You're breaking up then.
I can guarantee if. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
I can guarantee if he came back at Silverstone and he crashes in every race till the end of the season, KTM would still want him.
Possibly. We'll see.
I think.
Interesting one. Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree with Jay, to be honest. I think, although he's crashed in a lot, I think everyone in the paddock at the moment really realises that it's the bike at the moment, and that bike isn't really, I guess you could say, fit for purpose anyway to take a race win. It's a bike where it's just like flicking riders off as soon as they try to abuse it, and you can't really have that whenever a bike isn't ready to take a race win, so you have to abuse it to get a lap time out, and then you end up crashing. I mean, Marquez has not finished one main race this year, which is an incredible statistic, and yeah, I don't know how he'd be feeling at the moment. I mean, by the sounds of it, at Assen, it sounded like after he had that crash, he wanted just to almost just ride within his limits for the rest of the weekend was his plan, because he didn't feel like he could push. But if you've watched his documentary, he also did mention that he's not here to fight for 6th, 7th position, and he would rather not race at all than fight for them positions. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time ahead. KTM right now, I guess, seems the most logical move, but we're going to have to wait and see, because KTM, their main issue, like we mentioned Pedro Acosta, the amount of depth, the amount of talent that they have waiting for them seats or already in the seats is crazy, that they're going to have to either get in another team, which I don't know if they're going to be allowed to do. It just depends if they've been given permission by the likes of FIM and Dorna to get a third team on the grid. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time, because Ducati, they already have 8 riders that are battling for the championship and already up at the front battling for podiums. So why would you employ another rider that could potentially upset things in the Ducati camp, when right now he's just fighting for 6th position? Fair enough if he was already fighting for race wins and he's your main opponent, you would maybe try hire him. But right now Marquez, he's no real threat on the Honda to Ducati. So yeah, I think KTM and Marquez could potentially be a thing. And yeah, someone is going to have to move about with Acosta, of course, wanting it as well. And it's going to be interesting times ahead over the winter, let's just say, because, of course, we could have seats open up at Yamaha as well, with Morbidelli making some interesting comments. And Fabio Quartararo, he's not too happy with Yamaha either. So, yeah, I think we're ahead of some exciting times in MotoGP, but I don't think we're going to see, like Jay said, too many riders moving up from the junior classes, which is a real shame, just shuffling within the grid that's already there.
Well, wait and see. Anything could yet happen, and riders might. Do we think anybody, if anybody does, is there a possibility for anyone to move from World Superbikes? I don't see it much.
Not at the moment, no. There are going to be a few. I think there's going to be a few Ducati seats available, because I don't think Zarco's contract is getting renewed. And I'm not sure if Digi Antonio is getting his renewed either, because he's not had the best start of the season. So there might be a few Ducati spaces available, but depending if people come up from Moto2, or you say the unlikely prospect of maybe someone moving across from World Superbikes, we don't know yet. But I think there could be 1 or 2 Ducati spaces available as well.
Yeah, Digi sounds like the rider which is potentially not going to get his contract renewed the most next season anyway. I've also heard that Tony Arbolino might be in the running for a seat as well. Yeah. Of course, he's battling for the championship right now in Moto2 for the Mark VDS team, which we don't even know if they're going to be there next season. So, yeah, I think we could see probably 1 or 2 riders, maybe even 3 if Ayagura can continue this form that he's finally picked up. Maybe he can replace Takaki Nakagami, because Honda were wanting to do that for this season, but he didn't feel like he was ready. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting times ahead for MotoGP anyway. The musical chairs are definitely shuffling.
Yeah, watch this space. Or if you have any proper solid theories, the likes of which that you heard from your mates who used to mechanic someone from the 90s and their sister's boyfriend, was wandering through the paddock the other week, and they heard a top-class rumour from some of the GP mechanics. That's the sort of stuff we like. Oh, yeah.
And we're forgetting Jake as well. What about if he goes on this incredible winning streak now? You never know. He might get that gas ride. You never know.
Putting pressure on him anymore. And now he's... that's the reason I didn't even... Just because,
You know how
just let him do his thing.
You know how desperate Dorna are to have an Englishman in MotoGP, so...
Well, okay, he can come up and then maybe...
I don't know if you heard, I think it was on Friday practice, they have Michael Laverty in the commentary side at BT, but he was also talking how he has the desire to start a Moto2 team now, so that'd be really promising for the English guys. He also spoke how he would like to get some of the current English World Superbike riders to move over to Moto2, kind of like what Rory Skinner has done, what obviously Jake Dixon came from British Superbikes, and how he would love to get a Moto2 team and set up a British team as well. So that'd be really good for the likes of people like Kyle Wright, Bradley Ray, to maybe give them an opportunity in the Grand Prix paddock.
We don't know, of course, that they haven't already had an opportunity or an offer at some point in the past.
So
we don't know. I do.
But that would be really hopeful. So it'd be brilliant if Michael Laverty could get a moto team sorted.
Would it? I mean, talk about. Let's go to Moto3 then, just briefly before Finn comes on. Lewis, their performance at the weekend as a team. I mean, Josh Watley showed a few signs of a bit faster pace at the weekend. Wasn't able to translate it into anything for the race. But yeah, still a learning year, I think.
Yeah, a learning year's the nice way to put this round anyway. It was a tough weekend for the whole Vision Track team. Josh Watley made the mistake, outbraked himself and basically T-boned Adrian Fernandez on the Leopard bike, who was in replacing for a couple of rounds. But yeah, Josh Watley, a disappointing end to his race after just a couple of laps. And then Scott Ogden, he's down in 22nd at the moment, so not what he'd be wanting either. And yeah, it's been a tough season for them. I mean, right now, I guess with the whole age limit thing, it's kind of helping them out. They're going to get probably more time than what they would if, for example, the likes of your Casey O'Gormans, your Johnny Garnesses could have came into Moto3. But we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen with them. And I do think it would be a good idea, though, for the Moto2 team to get started, to be honest. I mean, it would give... We have so many British riders now in World Superbike, so yeah, it would be a good stepping stone at least. But right now, it seems that the Moto3 project still needs some work. But obviously, the Honda, it's not the bike to be on at the moment in Moto3, it seems. So slightly disadvantaged that way. But for the Vision Track boys this round, yeah, disappointing weekend for them.
Okay, so Lewis, you're Michael Laverty now. Who are you choosing then for this, in theory, fantasy Moto2 team?
Well, okay, put me on the spot here. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. It's a tough one. It depends, obviously, who wants to move, because we've seen Rory Skinner this year.
Let's say everyone's available and everyone wants to move. Who are you choosing?
I don't think any of them would turn it down anyway.
Exactly.
Well, any rider, probably right now, I would be picking the likes of maybe even Bradley Ray for a little. See, he's still young. And Kyle Wright as well from the British Superbike paddock as well. I wouldn't be picking the likes of Scott Ogden in that. I think they need a little bit more time to progress in the Moto3 class and show, I guess, some worth, I guess, to move up to Moto2, show that talent that they have inside them. But yeah, I would probably put Bradley Ray and Kyle Wright at the moment, to be honest. I mean, they seem the strongest. I don't think the likes of Tyrone McKenzie and that would get the ride, certainly with their season so far. So yeah, I would probably pick Kyle Wright and Bradley Ray for myself.
Wow. No Tara McKenzie. Wow. Okay. Jay, who...
He would love to get out of that team that he's in at the moment. I think if he could.
He says he's perfectly...
happy.
Well, I don't know if he said the word happy, but he said he's there anyway. He's not looking to do a runner. But I suggested on the last Superbike show a couple of weeks ago that we did that he should just quietly kind of just slip out the back door and just stay at home.
He keeps getting promised these parts, but they don't seem to be coming, do they? So let's put it this way. The people ahead of Taz in that World Superbike Championship, and that's no disrespect to them, he should be miles ahead of them. And when you see how far back he is, there's got to be something. Obviously, we know that bike is horrendously slow, like stock 600 slow. So, yeah, I believe in Taz that bike is not doing him any favours by a long stretch of the imagination. So,
well, not just no favours, but it's probably damaging his reputation, isn't it?
Parts. And then, because I think he should be and at least a top 10 runner in that World Supersport. At least, I think he's even better than that. But it must be so demoralising at the moment. Pretty much you're just riding about at the moment. It must be hard. But for my two, for that team, I would agree with Brad. I would like to see Max in it, Max Cook, but I think he needs a little bit more time in British Superbikes just to get up to speed. I think he's done well for his first year so far. So I probably, at this precise moment, I probably would agree with Brad and Kyle Ryde as well.
Max, yeah, I can see that. Or maybe if you're looking at BSB people, Charlie Nesbitt or even Ryan Vickers, if he's not considered past it now. I wouldn't consider him past it. But
no, it's hard because like so much British talent at the moment that you would love to give an opportunity to, but we haven't even got a team in Moto2 yet. But let's get one. We just
start throwing ideas around,
So
I don't know.
We know how hard it is. Whoever you choose to go into Moto2, that first year you're in Moto2 is always going to be so difficult. You're going to be near the back, whatever sort of talent you are, just because of how hard that class is.
Yeah, but I think like Scott Redding said when he was his last year in MotoGP, he'd rather be, I can't remember exactly his words, but I'm probably putting words in his mouth, but he'd probably rather be in MotoGP towards the back of the grid than somewhere else. Yeah.
Well, we saw that with John McPhee. He wanted to stay in the Grand Prix paddock as long as he possibly could. Even if he couldn't get a Moto2 ride, he hung around in Moto3 and he always got good results. And he did get a lot of stick for staying there because he was the oldest person there.
Not from me. Always loved McPhee.
But he stayed there as long as he possibly could until they literally kicked him out. So so some people do want to stay in that paddock as long as they possibly can. It was one of my questions when we used to do that quick fire thing with riders. We'll ask Finn in a second, would you rather win one MotoGP race or would you rather win a World Superbike title? And the majority of them said they'd rather win one MotoGP race, which I found quite surprising, really.
Interesting. Yeah, well, keep that under your hat anyway. You can probably ask him as he's coming on shortly. Just briefly, just wrapping up Moto3 stuff then. And as you mentioned earlier, I think you mentioned earlier, Lewis, Messier won the race, but only just from Sasaki and Dennis Onchu in third place in the race in Assen. Very quickly, rate that race out of 10, Lewis. I'm presuming you even watched it because you were probably drunk.
Yeah. No, I did watch it. I was still sober at that point. It was a great race, to be honest. One of the best Moto3 races of the season. We've seen quite a lot of spaced out Moto3 races this year. Not your typical 9-10 bikes battling for the race win, but that's exactly what this was. Romano Fenati was back at the front. Colin Vire was there as well at his home round. And it was great to see also Honda still having some legs on the KTMs. David Munoz as well in fifth place. He was back to his usual self, being as aggressive as possible. Him and Dennis Onchen was like fireworks on the circuit. So I would probably give it a 8.5 to be precise. I mean, probably the best race we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and Jay, what would you rate the Moto3 race out of 10?
Before we rate it, what happened to Hargado? Bloody hell, he qualified last and crashed on the first lap. If you don't call that a nightmare weekend, what can you do? So he'd been known as Mr. Consistent all season, and this weekend just went complete and utter mess. But yeah, it was a really good race. I'll give it 8 out of 10. It was like they're going into that last chicane on the last lap. It was a bit mental.
There you go. And, well, would you agree with those ratings? Let us know. Get in touch and have your say here on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. And, well, we get lots of people downloading the show, actually, now. Not everyone can tune in live on a Tuesday. There's other things. There's, like, other sports, football or
the
something.
X Factor.
X Factor?
Oof.
I don't know. People, I don't know.
Does that still
socialise or whatever people do with friends? I don't know. Well, this is all we do here on this Tuesday. Yeah, anyway, so it's the Superbike Show. It's Motorsport Radio. Hello and welcome. If you have just joined us, we do this usually every single Tuesday, unless we don't. But yeah, we've streaming 24/7. And we've got a breakfast show as well. Myself and Kiko Giles every morning in the week, 6 till 9 a.m. Tune in on your way to work, stream it on your phone, or listen to it in the van on your way to the racetrack, maybe, or whatever. It's a fine way to spend a morning just listening to non-stop motorsport and waffle about motorsport, but mostly motorsport and top quality, sometimes quality. Anyway, I will stop waffling and introduce our first guest for this evening. Please welcome onto the show. He's getting ready to make a fantastic appearance. I don't want to try and big him up too much and then kind of jinx him, but he will be racing at Donington this weekend. Please welcome Finn Smart-Weeden. Hello, Finn.
Hi, thank you for having me.
That's all right. How are you?
All good, yeah. Just getting ready for Donington at the moment.
Yeah, we were just discussing Donington and World Superbikes and stuff. So is this the first time that you've raced on the support package at World Superbikes? I can't actually remember.
No, we so as a class we've done it this will be the 3rd year running, I think we've done it, and I've been a part each time. And the last 2 years it's not really been a great round for me. In 2021 I crashed 3 times in a weekend with only 4 sessions. And then 2022, I think I also fell off a couple of times. So hoping to break that streak this year.
Well, you're back again and you're in a position in the championship anyway, leading it. And, well, I mean, last time I saw you, you were at Knockhill, and it's fair to say you were sort of buzzing from that weekend, and you had a pretty good set of races, I would say. So, yeah, leading the championship and coming into Donington in World Superbikes in the support category anyway, leading the championship. Fantastic so far for you in the season.
Yes, it started off really well, to be honest. You know, I came into this season thinking I could challenge for the wins and stuff and for the podium, but then my pace in that first race at Silverstone, and I finished 4th, and I was like, that's when I realised that I had pace to be at the front, because I wasn't happy with 4th, whereas the year before I definitely would have been happy with 4th. And then I won that second race, and that really propelled me forward, and I felt like I could definitely challenge for the title. And then Donington went quite well, a 3rd and a 4th. That was quite good. But then when we went to Knockhill, and I was still 2nd in the championship, it all got a bit real. So after that first race at Knockhill, it wasn't great. It was 4th again. But then 2nd in the second race, starting from 10th on the grid to the championship lead. And yeah, as you said, I was just buzzing coming out of Knockhill, especially going into the World Superbike round as the championship leader.
Well, we've got the other guys on the show. We've got Lewis and Jay as well, who you'll know, I'm sure, from your time racing at Fab Racing, yourself being another Fab Racing graduate, and we may just talk about that as well. So, yeah, guys, questions for Finn?
You go first, Lewis, or me?
No, you can start with your quick fire question.
Oh, okay, then. Well, no, I'll leave the quick fire questions to the end. I'll just talk to Finn. And well done, Finn. I was there at Silverstone when you got your first win. I could see how happy you were. It must have been amazing crossing that line, I was watching what's the corner off the back straight at Silverstone called? You should know, Finn.
The first corner?
No, coming off the back straight into the last little complex bit. Brooklands, yeah. So I was watching going in there. You were making some really good moves, and in traditional 300 racing, you make one mistake and you land up going back to 10th place. But just tell people, you really got to be in good track position. It's not just about being the quickest in the 300s. It really is about being in the right place at the right time. Did you feel going into that race that you didn't want to be leading coming out that last corner, or did you want to be in front?
Oh, yeah, track position is so important. I mean, I sort of had a plan going into that last lap. So I was I didn't want to be leading coming into Brooklands, because I knew Brooklands was the last real overtaking opportunity and had that big straight before it. So I thought, if I'm leading into Brooklands, I'm just going to get dive bombed. So I made the conscious decision to be second. I didn't really let them through, but I didn't make a move going into called maggots, so that I could be second down the straight into Brooklands. And then, the plan didn't pay off, to be honest, at that point, because the plan was to make a move into Brooklands, because I thought that was where the obvious place to make one would be. And then I just couldn't make a move. I couldn't quite get late enough on the brakes, and so I had to follow him around Brooklands and then into the last corner. I can't quite remember what it's called. But then I managed to get side by side with him going into like the last little kink before the front straight. And I just knew if I lent the bike over, especially on a 300, that if I could get the revs up, I could short shift to 6th. And so that's what I did. And I managed to just get past. But yeah, track position was really important in that race, because if you were going into Brooklands in the lead, it worked out for Lewis, to be fair, because he did still finish second, but I didn't feel safe going into Brooklands leading.
Yeah, it's definitely not so much at Knockhill, because obviously it's a bit more tight and twisty, but at Silverstone you could definitely tell that there was quite a few of you that didn't want to be leading onto that last lap. But going on to Knockhill, that first race, you fought your way to the front. You got up to first place. I thought you were going to clear off, but they seemed to just bring you back. You set a couple of really good fast laps midway through the race, and I thought, Finn's on for the win here. He's going to pull away a bit. But they did just manage to grab you, and you just lost 4th going to the line, I think it was. But either way, your results this season have been really consistent. You must be really happy with that, because obviously with that class, one mistake you make and you can drop really far back a couple of seconds and you're pretty much out of the points. So you must be really happy with how consistent you've been.
Yeah. The 4th place, I seem to be finishing 4th quite a lot this year, which is good and bad. But I think I've had 3 4th place finishes, and I've been 4th on the grid twice. So out of 9 possible results, I've had 4th 5 of them. But yeah, I'm not really happy with 4th, but at the same time, I think about it, it's definitely good to be consistent, and I'm the only person who's not finished outside the top 4 this season, and that's definitely helped me in the championship, because I've only won 1 race out of 6, and yet I'm leading, and so I think definitely consistent is so important.
Has your mindset changed at all now you're leading the championship, or at the moment is it, no, I'm just going out there to win every race possible?
I'm trying not to let it change, to be honest, at the moment, because I was thinking before I was leading, I was second, so it was out of my control completely. So the only thing I could do was just keep trying to do the best. Whereas now I'm leading, it sort of slipped into my mind, maybe I start trying to play for the championship. But I think at the moment, before we get to like the latter part of the season, I think I just got to keep going for the wins and keep trying to do the best I can, because anything can change for the next 5 rounds.
Well, hopefully this Donington will change. I think I do remember a couple of years ago I saw you crash at the chicane, I think, in one of these World Superbike rounds. I think it was the slowest crash in the world. I think you pretty much went into the gravel and just dropped it. But hopefully that's not going to happen this year, and you can maintain that championship lead.
That's the plan, yeah.
And, Finn, we spoke briefly on the Donington Park World Superbike weekend that you have coming up. So how do you approach this weekend differently from a normal BSB weekend with, the likes of potentially even Jonathan Ray watching you trackside? So, or do you just go in with the exact same mindset as what you were, the exact same preparation as what goes into a normal BSB weekend?
I try and go into it exactly the same as I would go into any BSB weekend, but obviously you've got it's more the feeling of just how bigger everything is. You get to the paddock on the Thursday morning and you get everything is so much more professional and more organised, and you walk through that pit lane on Friday or Thursday when you're going for a track walk, and there's World Superbike teams and bikes out, and it's quite daunting, to be honest, the first time you do it. So it does affect you a little bit, but I think I try and go into the weekend just the same as I'd go into any weekend.
And just before Knockhill last round for the British Superbikes, you did, I think just a month before or something like that, you did a race meeting for the Scottish Championship event. So how did that help, or they have an experience at Knockhill on a 400? How did that help going into the BSB weekend?
Oh, it helped massively, to be honest. A lot of the people in my class I don't think had ever been to Knockhill before, so I knew that I'd get an advantage if I could get there before the BSB weekend. And when I got there, I realised how much of a different track it was to anywhere else in the UK, because just the up and down and how quick and short the track is. The corners approach you very quickly compared to anywhere else. So once I got there and did the race weekend, and it took me a little while to learn the track properly, to be honest. I realised that it would definitely be a big help going into the race weekend, and I think it was a big help going into the race weekend because I went out in practice and I was already on the pace, whereas a few people were still trying to catch up, and I think that impacted their weekends a bit.
And headed into the season, obviously now you're 5 points ahead in the championship over Jack Kirsch. So going into the season, though, ahead of it, did you think that you could have been in this position right now, or were you not expecting to at all? Were you expecting to fight for just podiums this year, or did you have secretly in the back of your mind the idea of the fact that you could be leading the championship almost halfway through the season?
I think 4 years ago when I first started in BSB, I thought this was the year that I was going to try and aim to win it. But then after last year, I think I had quite a lot of bad luck, and so it was just in my head a little bit of whether I could actually challenge for the wins and be there consistently. So yeah, in the back of my head, I didn't really think that I'd be challenging for the championship at this point. But I definitely thought I'd have the pace to be up there. So I think a bit of both. I didn't really think I'd be challenging for the championship, but at the same time, I did think I'd be up there.
And pre-season as well, before this 2023 season, did you do anything differently in the preparation to it, or did you approach it the same way? Because I think you went testing out in Spain, you rode some 600s over there as well. So, have you changed anything in your approach to this season?
We made sure we had a really good testing program before the season this year. So before, we'd normally go out for maybe one trip just before the season, just to get me back used to riding the bike. But it never really felt like long enough to get back used to riding the bike and then testing things as well. So this year, because my mum's retired now and my dad's self-employed, it worked out that driving out to Spain and doing a longer period out there actually worked out cheaper than flying out and booking a test week because of the hotels and the flight costs and everything. And so we just went out there for I think 2.5 weeks, did 3 separate tracks, and we did the mini bike trip in between. And it really helped to be on a bike for so long, and it really helped my bike fitness. And I got to ride my 600 for the first time out there as well. And I think riding the 600 really helped to show, it was like you ride the 600 and it's so fast, and you get back on the 400 and it feels so slow compared to it that you can ride it a lot quicker. So I think that testing program really helped my season this year. But then also I think over the winter, I really tried to get my fitness up and focus on key elements of the fitness that I thought I needed to work on. So before, I just used to train. I didn't really have any sort of structure to it, whereas I still need more structure, but I'm trying to train the components that I think would really help me in, especially in junior supersport, my power and my endurance to be able to last to the end of the race, because the last lap is so important.
And you spoke about the last lap being important, and also that sometimes the bikes can feel a little bit slow after riding a 600. So actually on the bike itself during the race, on the final lap of the race, how does that feel? Because on the TV it looks crazy, it looks manic. There's riders chopping and changing and weaving on the straight line. So how's that feel actually on the bike itself?
You get used to it really. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I would have said it's absolutely mental, but you get used to it a little bit when you you ride differently to how you'd ride if you were riding a race where you know you're going to be on your own quite a lot, because you just approach it where you make an overtake almost every corner, and that's just the norm. So rather than it being like, okay, I'm going to sit here and planning stuff and like watch people in front of you, you're just trying to make an overtake every corner to stay in position, and then maybe try and make another one here or there to make up a couple positions. And so up until the last lap, it's not really that much different to a race where you're riding around on your own, because you get used to it eventually and everyone's doing it around you. So it's more just like a norm.
And I'll just ask one final question before I hand it back over for the moment. But obviously going to BSB, I believe your first season in the Junior Supersport was 2020 during the COVID year. So before that, obviously you're racing in Fab, and then you got your license and went to BMC as well. So how was that experience, first of all, jumping from Fab to a bigger bike and then not really having that much time on a bigger bike before then you make that step to BSB? So how was that experience with really not that much experience on a big bike?
It was quite a big jump, to be honest. When we first decided to do BSB in 2020, it was before the whole COVID thing, and we were expecting to be able to do BMC alongside BSB as like to get me up to speed in between the BSB races and before the BSB races, because BMC always starts earlier. And then when COVID happened and everything got pushed back, and my first round was BSB, and I didn't actually get to do a single BMC round that year because they all clashed. And so that first round of BSB in 2020 was a big jump compared to anything I'd done before. You know, I think I qualified 26th or something. Had a lot of problems throughout the weekend, and it was just the like the intensity of being with such quick riders, like in the British Championship, coming from somewhere where most people are people you've known and grown up with since we're like 6 years old. You've got real big, like fast riders in there. Like I think my first year was the year when Jenna won it, and he was really quick that year, really quick. And so you've got people like him coming past you and qualifying in practice. It is a bit of a wake-up call, to be honest.
Cheers.
And Finn, just listening to what you were saying there, and interesting. We do wish you still at Fab. Wish you'd probably pop back in between some of your other racing when you're doing, I don't know, BMC or NG road racing clubs sometimes, or BSB, or rubbing shoulders with the World Superbike stars and stuff like that. In fact, we had a comment flood in. Someone watching, Mr. Ryan Lilly. Hello, Ryan. He says, can I ask Finn about the time he crashed this weekend on his warm-up lap?
Yeah. I was on my 600 for then his second time racing it. Had a good weekend all the way up until race 3 on Sunday. I don't know what I did differently, to be honest. I was just following everyone around on the warm-up lap, and then I was going into this corner and the wind picked up a lot, and I just dropped it.
Yeah,
don't worry, Jake
everyone.
Dixon crashed on the warm-up lap, so all the best people do it.
Yeah,
that sounds a lot similar to Lewis's excuses whenever he goes off on warm-up laps and stuff like that. So
yeah, yeah.
Fair enough.
I've been ball around.
But yeah, no, good to definitely see you. So if there is a long-term vision or a plan, if there is one at all, what is it for you?
Well, I think as much as I'd love to be a MotoGP racer, I think you've got to be in Spain when you're like 6 years old. So it's not really the route I'm going to go at the moment. But if I'm doing well at BSB at the moment, so if I can continue along that route, and go up through Supersport and maybe into Superbikes in the future, that would be ideal. Obviously, I'd love to go to World Championship, go to Supersport 300 maybe, or World Supersport, maybe in World Superbikes in the future. But at the moment, I'm just focusing on whatever the next step is. So whether that be Stock 6 or Supersport, or go to World Championship, whatever budget can allow, and whatever I'm quick enough to do.
Well, that sounds like a good plan. Just see what opportunities arise. Maybe, possibly, something, maybe, in like World Superbike
There you go. I've got a question for Finn then.
Oh,
if there was 2 contracts on the table, one being a contract where you're going to be on the best bike in British Super Stock 600s, or a contract saying you're going to be in a middle team in World Superbike 300s, which one would you take?
I think you've got to take the World Championship ride, and just be around all the people in that paddock, get your face out there. I think it's the best option.
Sweet. Okay.
Fair enough. That answers your question. What you had another question as well?
Yeah, I'll ask another one, which I used to ask all the guests when I used to be on the show. If you had the choice, if you know by the end of your career, would you take one MotoGP race win, or would you take a World Superbike title?
Am I allowed to ask any stipulations to this question?
Go for it.
Go on.
The MotoGP race win, is it like a proper, fully dry race, no flag to flag?
Yeah, and you can choose the track, so it can even be at Silverstone if you wanted it.
So, like a proper win, none of this flag to flag,
No.
Well, a win's a win.
However you want it.
Oh, that's a hard one. I think the MotoGP race win.
Okay. I'm really surprised. I think I came from a different era when World Superbikes was bigger than what it was.
We're not in the 90s anymore, Jay.
I know.
Get over it.
I'm
Come
too
on.
old. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it'll be fantastic to see how you get on. Do we definitely know if your races are actually broadcast?
They're not.
Because they weren't last year, were
They were
they?
broadcast last year, but I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, get on it, TNT, or whatever you called now.
I'm on the Superbike Paddock Show on Friday. If anyone wants to tune into that, top 3 in the championship are on the Superbike Paddock Show on Friday.
Yeah, with Michael Hill.
Yeah.
So that should be good. And Jay, did you say you're going to Donington this weekend?
No, I'm going to Silverstone MotoGP. I won't be at Donington this weekend, unfortunately.
Oh, but Lewis, you said you were thinking about going to World Superbike.
Yeah, I mean the clock's ticking down now, so I really need to make a decision either like today or tomorrow.
You're definitely going.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a fantastic weekend. Fingers crossed, Finn. And I won't be there. I'll be doing other stuff. But it'll be good to see you back in a fab racing paddock, maybe on, I don't know. Do you have like a pit bike or something? Get your
He's
mini
got a
moto or something.
CRF, I know he has.
Me and my brother share a CRF 150 that's been through the walls a bit. I don't think it's had I lie. It hadn't had a change of tyres for 4 years. And then when we were in Spain, my tyre popped and sent me in front of it, so we changed the tyre.
There you go then.
Other than that, it's been beaten around a bit. It's been crashed through tyre walls many a time and not really had anything changed to it. So if I could get that down to fab one day, if I get a chance to get to one of the meetings, I'd love to come back.
Tell you what, towards the end of the season, you can come as champion. Just
love to.
There you go. Right, Finn, thank you very much for coming on the show this evening. Best of luck for this weekend, whatever happens. I don't want to say too much because Jay will jinx it.
No, I won't.
But anyway, thank you for coming on. And I'll just enjoy it, mate. Just enjoy it and have fun. And put on a good show for us. So
thank you. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Good luck.
Yeah, fantastic to have Finn with us here on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. And you can download a copy of the entire show or the best bits of it, i.e. not us and just Finn, if you want, by subscribing to the Motorsport Radio Superbike Show podcast. Available from all the best places in the world. Alternatively, if you don't fancy any of that, you can just stick us on. We're streaming 24/7. We've got some absolute bangers, including, as well, a brand new show every Friday and Saturday night from 8 p.m. usually, unless there's no other racing on, like Indy Cars or whatever, or BSB. The Paddock Party, Jay, is on this Friday. Paddock Party. Friday nights, Saturday night. Literally, it is literally what you think it is. It's just
something I'll enjoy then, yeah? You know how much I love it.
We don't have your sorts of music, I'm afraid, like One Direction
what are you trying to say?
Stuff like that. We actually have a variety of good songs on there. Let's say.
There you go. I love variety. My music genre is massive.
Yeah, Busted, so. McFly.
McFly, no.
Oh, sorry.
How dare you?
What's wrong with McFly? Anyway, never mind.
Oh, they're just copies of Busted.
I feel I'm venturing into a territory I probably shouldn't. But anyway, yeah, the Paddock Party.
Bike racing.
Paddock Party this Friday and Saturday night. Just stick it on, stream it, and chill out wherever you are. If you're in a paddock, at a racetrack, in the campsite, or just at home chilling, then check it out. Motorsport Radio streaming 24/7 here on Motorsport Radio. Right. Well, let's move on and talk about what exactly?
Long lap gate.
Long lap gate. Yes. Was it? Wasn't it? Lewis, just tell us. I was sort of half over this because I was busy doing stuff with my van, getting it ready.
I think there's four long lap gates to talk about. I think there's 2 in Moto2 and 2 in MotoGP.
The ones MotoGP actually, or the stewards issued pictures or a video of what wasn't a lot. Lewis, you can probably explain it better.
Yeah, I mean, in MotoGP's case, the main talking point this weekend was, of course, Brad Binder in the final lap of both races, actually. He got, he ended up getting the podium taken off him twice. And yeah, he wasn't that happy-chappy about it anyway, because his tyre went on the green on the final lap of the race, and it caused a lot of controversy, especially on the second time, because Jorge Martin, 2 places behind him, also did pretty much the exact same thing, went on the green. And I believe one of the reasons was because behind Jorge Martin, it was, I think, 13 seconds was the rider behind. So because of that, they didn't give him a penalty, but instead they still gave Brad Binder a penalty. So, yeah, a lot of controversy, first of all, there in MotoGP. And in Moto2, the main talking point anyway was with Pedro Acosta having a massive front-end save, having to go into the green, cut the chicane, but he's lost the place to Jake Dixon because of his save, but he still didn't lose enough time during that sector, so therefore he got given a long lap penalty. And then he went through the long lap penalty, lost the front again momentarily, and then had to basically, what looked to be, anyway on the TV cameras, cut the long lap penalty ever so slightly. And then therefore everyone was going mental, expecting the second long lap penalty, but it never came. And instead, their reasoning, the Stewart's reasoning, was a 240p grainy picture from the CCTV showing from about a mile away that he didn't cut the green from a different angle. So, yeah, Pedro Acosta anyway, the Pedro Acosta one, it looked like to me did cut the green from the angle that we've seen. And the CCTV, it's still almost so grainy that you can't really tell that well. And the Brad Binder one, I mean, yeah, it's commendable, actually, the amount of calmness that he has anyway, to not flip out and throw gloves, even though it technically was his fault. But yeah, it was a real shame for him. And it's just showing, I don't know, I guess some inconsistency once again, because we've seen with... yeah, I know, shocked. It's just almost a story of 2023 at this point, because we've seen, I forgot who it was, but it actually wasn't that long ago. Actually, yeah, it was Brad Binder back in 2021 with the Styrian Grand Prix, or the Austrian Grand Prix, whenever it was wet and he ended up winning slicks. He was leading by, I think, 13 seconds, and he ran wide on the final corner and the final lap onto the green. And since the rider behind was so far away, they gave him a 3-second penalty. But this time around with Jorge Martin, he got given absolutely nothing for running away just because the rider was so far behind. He still didn't get that penalty, which was given a couple of years ago. So yeah, still some inconsistency and a lot of controversial opinions on Twitter, that's for sure. Wow. Okay. Jay, your thoughts on long lap gate?
So there was another one. It was either in Moto2 or Moto3 where I think it was Moto2, because Pedro Acosta went up the inside of someone. He then had to run on the green on the final chicane. He clearly looked over his shoulder and gave plenty time away. And next lap, he still got the long lap loop. I think it's just, even before they go for the long lap loop, I think it's totally wrong, because Pedro Acosta did a brilliant save. He still looked over his shoulder, dropped back, and then he still got the long lap, which, okay, yes, we all can see that he did cut the long lap loop as well. But I don't think he should have ever got it in the first place. I don't understand how you can get penalised for doing a really good save. Like, I just think it's unbelievable. I don't think it should have even got to that point. He hadn't gained anything. He'd made a mistake, done a great job of saving it. Just let him carry on racing. So I think before it even got to those points, that it shouldn't have even been a long lap anyway. With the Brad Binder one, it is hard to say because the rules is the rules and they've got to have a cut-off line. I don't know if you guys are into football, but it's a bit like this offside rule where, like, if their T-shirt is offside, there has to be that line of where what isn't and what isn't it. You can't just go, oh, he was only a tiny bit over, you let him off. But in my opinion, there shouldn't even be any green there. It should just be grass there, and that's how it should be, because you wouldn't go on it if it was grass, would you?
Yeah, just have a brick wall, sort it out.
Oh, no, not a brick wall. I don't want to kill people, but yeah, it should be grass there or something that is going to deter people from going on it. But the rules are the rules, but with the Pedro Acosta one, and I forgot the other guy who went on the green, who also got a long lap. I don't think it's right. If you lose time, you shouldn't have to do a long lap penalty.
No matter what way you look at this, it's inconsistency, really, no matter what. I mean, the CCTV footage, which the Stewarts are defending themselves over, not giving a second long lap penalty, really, it's their reasoning anyway is that it shows no proof that he went on the green, but it also shows no proof that he didn't go on the green, unlike the other camera was showing. And we've seen with Fabio Quartararo in Jerez this year, actually, that literally just exiting the long lap loop, his rear tyre went slightly over onto the green, out of the white lines, and because of that, he got served a second long lap penalty. But the difference there between Assen is that they have a slow motion and high definition camera literally on the long lap penalty loop, unlike Assen, where we had the CCTV footage and camera on the back of it that no one could, that the Stewarts are claiming wasn't good enough evidence. So really, I think the best way out of this, really, to stop inconsistencies, with removing the fact, obviously, that he got the long lap penalty in the first place, which I completely understand as well, the fact that he still lost the position and he still got given the penalty. But I think I forgot how long. I think you have to be a second slower in that sector alone for you not to get a penalty from it, which is a lot of time to lose during mid part of a race. But yeah, I think the best idea anyway for the Stewarts is get some cameras which focus on the long lap penalty specifically 24/7. So no matter what, you have a slow motion camera to depict and show the whole world if someone went over the line or not, rather than trying to defend it with CCTV footage from the circuit.
Said Lewis Ray. If you want to.
And I think I remember a couple of years ago, World Superbikes, where was it Johnny Ray that grassed up top rack on the last lap when none of the stewards noticed it? So yeah, and like I would have thought a lot of those Moto2 teams did probably appeal Pedro Acosta's thing, and it came to nothing. But Johnny Ray could grass up top rack, and then he got the fine at the end of the race, didn't he? So
I mean, initially, I don't know what the original call was, but it could have been done by a marshal and their view of it, and that could have been radioed in, and then it might have been backed up. I was watching it live on telly, and it was pretty clear that he did cut that long lap. I know it was by millimetres, but yeah, he did cut it, and by the eyes of the law, he should have done it again. Well,
yeah, I think everyone's kind of almost at, well, I don't know. I think most people anyway are in agreement that it did look like he cut it. I was having to watch on the World feed last weekend, and even they were saying that they were expecting to get another penalty, and yeah, we're all expecting it, and nothing came by the end of the race. It came about 2 laps to go, and everyone kind of realised, hold on a minute, he's not getting a penalty at all here for slightly going over it. Can you imagine
if that was the conclusion, if that stopped Jake Dixon getting his first ever race win? Jesus Christ. Imagine what that would have been like. I think so, is it?
Well, it happens in even the biggest championships, like BSB. Sometimes, things go awry. I think back to when Harvey Claridge had a couple of goes about 3 years ago in the British Talent Cup at the time. Just couldn't get it right. And then, he got red flagged anyway, and then he got put back a lap because it got red. It turns out to be a mess, but yeah.
You don't see long laps actually used that much in BSB.
No, but when they are, I suppose if you obviously a rider is always going to want to maximise the potential or minimise the potential loss.
I like the idea of the long lap penalty is very good. I like the long lap penalty. It's better than the old days where you would have to do a ride through, and then if you do a ride through, it pretty much wrecks your race. So I do like the long lap penalty is good. I think it's the things that are getting given for them to go do the long lap penalty, which is the problem.
What about putting some little cones or something around there so you literally physically can't cut the corner? Just
put grass there.
Yeah, but then you got to take it up, and then what if someone slips on it and then it ruins their race just because of a bit of grass, or maybe the bit of grass gets blown over or something because it'll be AstroTurf because it's not, because it'll be on concrete. Yes, well, what do you do? Inconsistently or consistently inconsistent?
Yes.
There you go. I'm not going to mention anything. I'm not going to have an opinion on that. So, tumbleweeds all round for that one on my part. But let us know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you even care? Get in touch. Have your say. Hashtag Motorsport Radio. Hashtag The Superbike Show. And, there's loads going on this weekend. And we will get to some of it later, including, but not limited to, there's also the Junior GP happening this weekend in Portimao. There's MXGP in Indonesia, Lombok. There's the FIM World Supercross.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Yeah, no one does that. And there's also BEMC at Cadwell Park as well. Could have asked Finn if he's doing BEMC. No, he's busy at idiot. He's busy at Donington, isn't he? Red Bull rookies at the weekend. Hashtag Dutch GP. Have we finished? We've not finished talking about GP yet, have we? Though, or have we?
We haven't really spoke about the actual MotoGP race.
Yeah.
Really. We just talked about the long laps, really. So
Yeah, well, that's all you need to know. Damn it. Go on then. Let's talk a bit about GP then.
Bagnaia won.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Bagnaia won the main race on the Sunday, which it was pretty impressive, to be honest, to see his pace. He won by 1.2 seconds in the finish up from Marco Bezzecchi and Aleix Espargaro in third position on that Aprilia, which was great to see. Of course, Aleix, he's having some niggles with his injuries as well after riding his bicycle and was on his phone and crashed it. So, yeah, he's having some injuries as well. It's something to get through. But, of course, that third position was only gave to him through Brad Binder's penalty for fourth place. So, yeah, fourth place for Brad Binder in the finish up with the penalty applied. And Jorge Martin finished in fifth, and it was announced in the morning as well that, Marc Marquez wouldn't be taking part in the Grand Prix that weekend, with the top Honda in the finish up being Takaki Nakagami in eighth position. And yeah, it was a interesting weekend anyway for Honda, as we've already covered as well. And I think actually Takaki Nakagami by the finish up was the only full-time Honda rider that made the start, because of course there was Zico Lecuona as well filling in for Joan Mir, which has a fluid inside his hand, I believe it is. And we also had Stefan Bradl in the LCR Honda replacing Alex Rins, who has just finished 2 surgeries on his leg and is hoping to be back for Silverstone in a couple of months' time. But yeah, the main race, it was probably the least exciting race on the Sunday. It wasn't a bad race, but it was the least exciting race on the Sunday. Moto2 and Moto3 were really, really good. And in the sprint race as well, it was Marco Bezzecchi actually took the win this time, 1.2 seconds over Francesco Bagnaia, with Fabio Quartararo in the podium. And as I said earlier on at the start of the show, Quartararo, he was running in Amsterdam and he broke, I think, a couple of his toes. So yeah, he was playing about painkillers. Actually, he got a special boot made for him across the weekend, which was slightly larger and slightly more comfortable on the motorcycle, but he still was in quite a lot of pain while riding. And Aleix Espargaro finished in fourth in the sprint race with Brad Binder in fifth after his penalty on the final lap in, I think, actually the identical place. So yeah, Aprilia's back up there this weekend and hopefully starting to get things back on rails. Yamaha and Quartararo and we get his first podium of the season, and once again Ducati being dominant at Assen.
You learn all that just from being drunk in a pub in Spain?
Yeah, well, bucket loads, literally, actually. But yeah.
I struggle to just pay attention for like half an hour, to be honest. Just when I'm not intoxicated with food.
I struggled with the heat as well. I think it was like 28 degrees or something that day. So,
outrageous, yeah.
I know it was ridiculous.
But Jay, for you, the race...
quite uneventful for an Assen race. Normally, it's been MotoGP. An Assen race is normally a Moto3 race. We normally have about, I think it was a couple of years ago, we had the most ever passes in a MotoGP race around there, I think it was.
Well, they can't be thrillers, though.
2018.
It usually is a good race around there, but it was a bit uneventful. It was a bit of following my leader, really. It wasn't too much overtaking. But it was quite eventful. I think there were only 14 or 13 finishers at the end of the race, so even I could have gone round and got some points, but yeah, it was a bit uneventful for a MotoGP race.
Fair enough. And I was just sorry, I was paying attention. No, I wasn't. I was actually just trying to find some pictures of Lewis as he was making his way back from Spain the other day at the airport. Let's have a little look. Just talk us through the bike that you found at the airport, Lewis. Proper thoroughbred.
Yeah, of course. It was a proper beast of a machine. It was the Casey Stoner's GP7.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Proper motorcycle there. Full 800 cc's it would have been. So yeah, it was a proper beast. And look at that from a different angle there. A proper buzz and all. I couldn't believe my eyes, actually. You would never see stuff like that in the UK, so just had to sit on it. And yeah, very lucky to get the opportunity to sit on Casey Stoner's MotoGP bike.
Is that contactless on that to use?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, the technology in GP nowadays is outrageous, I tell you. The happiest kid in the airport, Lewis Ray.
Yeah.
There you go. Just thought.
I bet they haven't got Jake Dixon's bike down my local pleasure beach, have they?
Exactly. That's why I was most buzzing. I mean, you would never see that in the UK. So I had to take up the opportunity. But yeah, that bike, of course. Well, I assume it's a GP7 replica, or what they were trying to aim for. That bike, of course, was the last Ducati to win the championship until last year. So yeah, it's been a great time for Ducati, actually, moving on to them quickly with, as we were saying earlier, with them having 8 riders on the grid, being very, very quick. And now, so they're not needing to sign someone like Marquez. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a great weekend. And it was actually a great, nice time on holiday as well to see, MotoGP. But like I said to Leicester, of course, they got quite a chuckle out of it. I think everyone got a chuckle out of it, actually, who has said it to. So...
There's a good chance that Ducati could do what Yamaha did a few seasons ago. They could win the free this year, couldn't they? They could win BSB, they're pretty much already done World Superbikes, and they could win MotoGP as well. And they are leading in World Supersport as well, aren't they, as well at the moment?
Yeah,
so they could do the lot this year. So, yeah, be interested. Well, they're dominating everything at the moment, which they're very pleased with, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure they got to be happy with it, to be honest. I mean, this weekend, though, I think at World Superbike, it's going to be an interesting weekend for Ducati because, of course, last year it was Toprak Razkatioglu who took all 3 race wins. And then the last Spaniard actually to win at Donington was 2011 with Carlos Checa. So, Bautista is not yet to win at Donington Park for World Superbike, so it's going to be an interesting time ahead anyway.
Have you been reading Kiko's stats article?
I have, actually.
Okay. That sounded very much like a Kiko stat. Oh, did you know the last Spaniard to win was 46 years ago?
The only Spaniard to win at Donington Park was Carlos Checa in 2011.
Is it just me, or I'm praying for rain? I just want it to muddle up the results a bit because it is getting a bit samey and
Whoa!
I want a wet race. I just want it to shake it up a bit. But we say that the only wet race we've had this season was Phillip Island, race 1. and he still won in the wet as well. So it might not muddle it up a lot, but I'm praying for rain.
Okay, the official weather forecast, according to weather.com, at the moment on the Tuesday is Friday, sun, Saturday, sun, and slightly lower temperatures on Sunday, but still sun.
Yeah. I think John McPhee will probably be praying for rain after his performance at Phillip Island in the wet. I bet he would love a wet race at Donington. But there you go. We can all have our fingers crossed and do a bit of a rain dance for the British lads.
I don't mind. I mean, in World Superbikes, I don't mind the current domination. Maybe eventually I'll get bored of it. But maybe it was like for some people who followed the original Jonathan Rea domination at the start of his reign of dominance. It was a bit of a nice, refreshing, to see someone.
There's always going to be different manufacturers having a brilliant time and some having a terrible time. Tables will always turn. We had Kawasaki when they were on top. It's now Ducati on top. I'm sure there's going to be a point when Yamaha are going to come good. So when Honda, if they ever will become good again, we'll just have to see. They chuck enough money at it in World Superbikes. Hopefully, maybe one day they'll get the luck to be at the top as well. But at the moment, it's Ducati in every class. BSB is probably the one that you would say at the moment with Kyle Ride that maybe there could be a little change, but Glenn and Bridewell are doing very well at the moment.
I'm just checking some stats here. Bear with me a second. I can't talk and browse.
You're looking very focused at the moment.
Super
but
focused.
Yeah, no rain at Donington as well. Of course, it's not been the United Kingdom round, the Great Britain round of World Superbike, which is such an odd name to call it, but it should be a good weekend for them. And Bautista right now, we're talking about his dominance, an 86-point lead over Razgatlioglu heading into Donington Park, and it looks like it's going to be tough anyway to overcome that gap by the end of the season, because so far he's been absolutely dominant. And if it's not been him on the top, it's been either his teammate Ruben Rinaldi fighting with him or Razgatlioglu. And I think that's Lester finally found his stat.
How can you tell? All right, quick quiz question for you guys. I've not prepared any of this, so this is literally just springing something on them. Jay and Lewis. Okay, let's have a look here. Right. 20 years ago in World Superbikes.
Oh, no.
There was actually two rounds in Great Britain. There was a Brands Hatch and Silverstone. I'm going to look and focus on the Silverstone.
2004.
Yeah, stop Googling it. Stop it. No, don't be Googling it.
My phone's here. Look, it's off. It's on the table.
Yeah, Wendy's on the iPad or something.
No, she's not.
Okay, top three from 20 years ago, World Superbikes at Silverstone. Go. Who was it? Have a guess.
That would have been back in the day when they had that horrible little chicane right at the end of the lap.
6, 5.
20 years ago at Silverstone.
3, 2, 1. Neil Hodgson, 2 wins. There we go, unfortunately.
James Toseland probably was on the podium as well, I reckon.
Yes, he was, but you're at the time, so he doesn't count. Yeah. And Ruben Zaus, or Chaus, was third.
Bila Ducatis.
Yeah, that was that not the year Toseland took the title in the end?
No.
Gregorio, Greg, I can't say his name. Lavia was second in race 2. There you go. So yeah, just because Kiko did quite a comprehensive stats article, I just wanted to go do some find something a bit random from whenever. And now Lewis is looking for other stats. Now I can see.
No, it was the year at Toseland. It was the year at Toseland took the title on that Fila Ducati 04. But Yeah, I remember actually. I have the DVD for the 2004 season review just over there. I was watching this a couple of months ago.
Wasn't that when he still is the youngest ever world Superbike champion? Is that correct?
Yes.
You asking?
I believe so.
Don't ask me.
You should know, Lester. No, he is. He is the youngest ever world Superbike champion.
Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely. Anyway.
Can someone tell me who the youngest ever BSB race winner is?
Actually,
I think it's Tommy Hill at Cadwell Park.
why do you
Someone
spring
have
these
to do
things on me? Wait,
I think it's Tommy Hill.
Kiko would know this. It'd be just like thingy.
I think it is Tommy Hill.
There's not been anyone in recent years, has there? How old was Jake Dixon when he won at?
Nah.
Quite old. He was in 600 for quite a while. He's quite a late starter, Jake was, to be fair.
What's the question?
Wendy's Googling it. The youngest.
See, I knew it. Anyway, right, I've lost my train of thought. What we were talking about, bikes, I think, or racing or something.
Yes, something along that lines.
We've not run out of things to talk about. Oh no, I'll have you know. But just general World Superbikes. Are you going this weekend? Are you thinking about going? And is anything stopping you from going? What's putting you off?
There's 5 support classes this weekend, if I remember right.
5 support classes, and one of them's
different.
Are the World 300s there, or the European 300s? Are they racing there as well?
Yeah, the R3 European Championship's going to be there as well, and actually no, there's no World 300. So yeah, just the R3 Blue Crew Cup, the BMW F900 R Cup, and the, of course, World Supersport, World Superbike, and the British Junior Supersport. So yeah, both the British Junior Supersport races are on the Sunday as well.
On the Sunday.
Also,
yeah,
I know you guys didn't do a show last week. Have we spoke about the massive news that Top Rack has gone to BMW? Has that been spoken about in the show?
No one's. I don't think anyone's ever mentioned that one. Don't think so.
I'm a bit shocked, really. I never saw that coming, to be honest with you.
I mean, this is news to me. I don't know. No, it's already been established, and we decided that he's an idiot.
Oh, what, really? No, I reckon there's some background stuff there. I reckon there's something in the contract that
money.
Yeah.
No, I think
believe that Top Rack will win a championship with BMW in the next, let's just say, 5 years if he ends up sticking with them.
I think the contract goes deeper than that. I think
that's the sort of thing a rider would say when they know they're not going to win. No, it's not about winning. It goes deeper than that, our relationship. You see, it's about money, but it's really a developmental thing, and it's a lot.
There might be something in his contract saying BMW will be in MotoGP in the next 3 years. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, but he had a chance to go to MotoGP, but he turned it down. I'm sure he had a chance. He was in negotiations to do that.
He said on his leaving Yamaha quote anyway that he had MotoGP options there anyway on the table.
But no. I'll just stay in World Superbikes on a BMW forever. He's basically.
Well, there's going to be a massive shuffle about in World Superbikes for next season, so there's going to be a lot of riders going here, there, and everywhere in there. So.
Who's going here?
Well, we said Sam Lowes is probably not going to be at Kawasaki next season, is he? So there's going to be a space opening up there.
So where's he going?
Both of the BMW riders who are currently there at the moment, I don't think will be there next season. I don't think Scott Redding will stay.
So where's he going?
And I think Scott Redding, I think he will go to America. I personally think his wife is American, and he will get paid quite good money over there. So
he could, of course, come back to the UK as there's a seat coming over here at the moment with no one to fill.
Yeah, I could see him going to America. I don't know where Ruben. You could see Vandermark going to Kawasaki. That kind of sounds like a good fit, even when you think about it, really, because he just kind of swaps around all the teams anyway. So he hasn't been there yet. Will the Bautita's teammate Ruben Rinaldi, will he stay there for another year? Will get a go on it? The guy who's doing well on the private bike at the moment,
Bassani.
Yeah, Bassani, he might get an opportunity in the factory team. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of seat swapping in World Superbikes, I think.
I'm not too sure.
I think there's been one or two surprises anyway. I've also heard Xavi Vierge on the factory Honda. He might be looking towards that Kawasaki seat as well and leaving Honda as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think also the one that everyone's going to be wanting to get in is that Michael Ruben Rinaldi seat. And like we've seen, for example, in Mazzano, where he clipped the back wheel of Toprak and went down at turn one in front of all the Ducati bosses. That's not what you're wanting to do if you want to keep a seat for next year in the factory team. So it's probably coming at the worst point of the season to be making mistakes like that. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting time anyway, World Superbikes, like we said, the MotoGP as well. But the whole Toprak thing, as we said a couple of weeks ago, was... yeah, it was a surprise and a shock to everyone. Actually, it was a surprise and a shock to the likes of Scott Redden, who found out on the exact same way that we did through the BMW's press release that it was coming to BMW, which was a bit of a shock for them. And I believe Scott has until, I think, the middle of July to make his choice. As in a Eurosport interview, it sounded like there was a contract on the table. And whether he's going to take it, though, is a whole different option. I mean, America... with Moto America, which was on last weekend, actually, it's probably the best it's been in so long, to be honest, since it was the AMA and everyone practically pulled out of it.
Is that because they're live streaming on YouTube now?
Yeah, well, the live stream on YouTube does go down now and then, to be honest. But yeah, it's opened up to a brand new audience, and there was some pretty good racing with the likes of Cameron Beaubier and Cameron Peterson and even Jake Garnier, who wildcarded in World Superbike last year. All them guys duking out on this track as well. Josh Herron, who was replacing Petrucci for this season. So yeah, Moto America, it's a growing championship, and like we've seen in Grand Prix paddock, all the riders just seem to run away to World Superbike once deals fall through, and now it's almost turning into a theme of if you fail World Superbikes, you head to Moto America for a couple of years and see what's what. So yeah, it's going to be a interesting time ahead anyway. To be honest, if Moto America can get more top class riders, I don't see why not. That's a pretty good game for them.
I'm not too sure. Nothing against Moto America, but
it's good for the championship itself. Maybe not the rider, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But anyway, the question that we really want answered, Jay Lewis, is who's going to replace Tim Neve in BSB? Nothing
we haven't spoke about that.
Yeah, nothing's been announced yet. Haslam apparently was asked or was approached. Is that right, Lewis?
Yeah, Haslam was basically, I think, almost as boring as that he was offered a seat and he said no to it. And he says that maybe the younger Lewin Haslam would have said yes to that, but now he's got this project with this BMW team, and he feels like he needs to at least see it through for everyone involved.
Deeper. It's not just necessarily about throwing money and good rides around, you know. Taking the piss. But yeah, no, good on Leon for sticking to what he's doing. It's obviously working.
It's hard to choose someone really, because obviously it's halfway through a season, so you can't really.
Well, it's interesting that they even asked him, because that would have been a bit of a.
I think he's the only logical person they could ask, because it's his team. He hasn't got a. Ask anyone, has he? He can just leave. So but yeah, it's a big thing to leave, isn't it? When you put all your money into it and just go, nah, I'm walking away now.
If you look at the calendars of, for example, BSB and the remaining World Superbike dates, I think only one clash, if my crap brain remembers correctly. There's only one more clash.
I know one person who could take it, and he hasn't got a ride. He hasn't had a ride for quite a few seasons now, and he does train about on Yamaha bikes. I know he wouldn't take it, but Bradley Smith would be a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, because he hasn't rode since he rode in MotoGP, has he? So logically, that would be a good thing to do to come ride in BSB. But I don't think he would do it, would he? I think
he's kind of disappeared off the face. He did some Moto E after MotoGP, but since then he's kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. I believe he's doing some training stuff now, but he does ride Yamahas. It would be a shock to the world anyway if he decides to come back for McCann's Yamaha.
Okay. I think he'd probably want to approach a full season, something more stable. I might be wrong. He might just turn up.
If we were going youngsters and people I would like to see have a chance, I think in Stock 1000, Franco Born has surprised a lot of people by jumping straight on that bike and being up the front.
Yeah, but he's kind of busy though.
Away.
He's busy being good. I don't think anyone who's looking good at the front of a championship would necessarily... It's like that question that you asked earlier. Would you trade...
I understand what you mean, yeah.
Struggling to get to grips with a BSB bike, maybe mid-lower pack, or would you want to fight for that championship in a support class? I honestly think younger riders would stick to where they know, and that's the advice that they would be given. But maybe I'm wrong.
There's not that many riders which aren't fighting for a championship right now in the junior classes, which you would really pick to put on that top BSB bike at the moment. I mean, Franco Born, he's impressed everyone, but he's fighting for a championship, and it would only be half a season on the BSB bike to throw away a British title potentially. So, I mean, still young. Personally, the rider I would want to see, I don't even know if it would be possible because obviously he's already locked in the contract for the year, but he still is young. Storm Stacey, I would love to see on the McCann's Yamaha. Yeah, it would be so good to see. I mean, he's on a bike right now, which he's doing amazing on, getting great results on for the bike that it is, and he's pushing it definitely to its limits. So he's shown his talent a lot on that bike, and to be honest, I was expecting him to get the FS3 ride. I thought Kawasaki would maybe want to put him on the more factory supported team, but it was a bit of a shock whenever he stayed with GR Motorsport. Nothing against him, of course, but
I don't think that was a shock.
Awesome to see them.
He's got a good relationship with Brent, and it goes, just to paraphrase what Jay said earlier, it goes a lot deeper than just being a typical sort of ride, really. Brent's a top guy, the team are a top team, and Storm's a top rider as well. If they can all eventually come together with a fantastic package, it'll definitely come together for them. So as much as, I don't know, who else is kind of someone like who's not even in BSB at the moment, I think probably has a better chance of coming in rather than upsetting, because it literally almost halfway through, not even halfway through the season, but we're right in the season. I don't know if it's like the worst time to displace anybody just for, I mean, who's even on the sidelines? Who's even not in BSB? Like maybe you said Brad Smith, but I don't really see that.
Fraser Rogers, he's done a few BSBs before.
He's kind of, from what his mom says, he's kind of stepped away from racing, I believe. That's according to his mom, not me. And he's enjoying life at the moment, I believe. I'd be very surprised if he does do that, though.
Even though I think he may be leading the championship. I know he took 2 wins at Knock Hill in Stock 1000, but I reckon if you offer that ride to Dan Linfitt, because he's one of the older people in Stock 1000s, I reckon he'd bite your hand off for that ride. Well,
what do the team want as well? Do they want an old hand, someone who can just bring it home and get some points maybe for themselves?
He's a BSB race winner, Dan Linfitt, so he wouldn't do a terrible job. And it's, at the end of the day, we're not talking about a rubbish bike here. I mean, this bike is, it won the championship a couple of years ago. They're probably, when you look at their infrastructure in the BSB paddock, McCann's have probably got the biggest. Their hospitality is the biggest. They're one of the teams that put the most money into it, apart from Paul Bird, probably. So it's not like we're talking about a small team here. So they need someone else on the bike because of all the sponsors they have and things like that. So I'm sure they're going to find someone pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, probably, and they probably already have done. Maybe there's going to be an announcement tomorrow. Who knows? There usually is, just after we've done the show. But I'll ask the question anyway. Lewis, you're now the team boss of that team. Who are you choosing to replace Timney for the rest of the season?
Without contracts aside and stuff, I still would want to see Storm Stacey on it, to be honest.
What if he's not available, though? Who else?
Yeah, well, if we could pull any... What?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
If we could pull... I don't know if we could pull any rider out of a championship as well. I mean, I honestly do firmly believe if you potentially, with the way that he's feeling at the moment, all my opinion, of course, that if you offered, for example, someone like Scott Redden, who's hating his BMW ride at the moment, would he consider that McCann's seat at the moment? I mean, it's clear that him and BMW's relationship is needing fixed anyway, because he's punching the bike, he's swearing and shouting in the pit box. They're not happy, he's not happy. I don't see that relationship really lasting too much longer. So, of course, BSB champion, he did it with ease, but would he come back? I don't know.
Could they afford him, though? That's the thing. Would they?
Well, yeah.
Because he wouldn't be cheap.
No.
So why would they, when they could put that? I don't even know. Jay, so Lewis, you're going to approach Scott Redding then for that.
If I wasn't allowed Scott Redding, if I wasn't allowed Storm Stacey, I would at least try and approach the man who is hating his ride at the moment in World Superbike.
Yeah, or maybe even Tarrant. I mean, I'd suggest that.
To be honest, though, the thing with Tarrant, I mean, yeah, but I feel like...
I think he's lying when he says he's enjoying life at the team on that bike.
I feel like he's really setting his hopes high that he is going to get a World Superbike seat out of this, and there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's what he's relying on at the moment. And I also think if it doesn't work out, and for example, McCann's still chopping and changing riders, they probably would open up their arms again and accept him back in their wing after he's done this world stint.
I don't know what his contract is like, but as I said, I don't think there are any clashes. Potentially he could do both. I don't know. Jay, who are you approaching for that?
I am going to go for someone who is a Yamaha rider but doesn't race at the moment. I say we get Cal Crutchlow back for one more chance in BSB. That'd be epic, wouldn't it? Imagine Crutchlow back in BSB on a Yamaha. He's a Yamaha test rider. All the stars are going to align. I reckon that's going to be the announcement tomorrow.
Generally speaking, when you've got legacy riders like that, they don't tend to fare well in BSB at the moment. I mean, we've seen it so many times where like GP and Moto2 people
last season.
And yeah, coming in and everyone's like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be, yeah, it's kind of like, it's always kind of like that. So as much as we do love it, I don't know. But as maybe a second choice.
It's not going to happen because I know Crutchlow, he was like, when he finished in MotoGP, he was like, yeah, I'm done now.
Yeah, okay. So really then, if you really had to approach someone to choose for that ride.
It's just so hard because no one's going to come out of their contracts with their team.
Well, they might.
It's not the team is bad because it's not really much of a change really, but I would love to see both of the guys who are on the Hawk bikes at the moment given a chance. I love Charlie's brilliant. He's a really good talent. I'd like to see him on the Yamaha, and also Josh Owens as well. I think they're both great talents, but they're not quite on the best bikes on the grid. So maybe one of them too.
Interesting. Okay. I'd probably do a solid job, but they're already in BSB.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're already in contracts.
Who would you maybe look at someone who's not currently already in BSB?
Yeah, so like I said, I think even though Dan Linfield, I think is leading the Stock 1000 Championship because of his age, because he's kind of been around before.
He might be a good shout, actually. I don't, maybe.
if you did offer it to him, because obviously I think he's about the same age as me, early 30s, he would take that ride. So what are you laughing about?
Early 30s. Yeah, okay.
We're not all young like you, Lester.
Yeah, I'm in my mid-20s.
Yeah. It's just been a hard job, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah. Tough shift. Jesus. Yeah, maybe Dan Linfoot would be good. I mean, he's not bad. He's never bad.
No. He's 34.
34. So, yeah, I think if you wanted someone who's going to give you solid results till the end of the season, then you can find someone when they're all swapping and changing seats. I think Dan Linfoot would probably take that. And what's stopping you from doing both? We do see some people doing both classes. Charlie did at the end of last season when he got drafted into British Superbikes. He was doing both classes. So there's nothing stopping you from doing both.
Your fitness, maybe?
Yeah.
Potentially. I don't know. Let me have a look. Let's just try to see.
I just can't think of any other riders that are sitting on the sidelines. He was on Danny Buchan's podcast the other day. Mason Law, he did a few seasons in British Superbike, so he has a bit of experience as well.
Would you maybe look for someone totally sort of like a total newbie, maybe someone, a youngster with no experience, and use the rest of the season just to give them a bit of experience with a view to, but that could be the Storm Stacey type of person. In that way, he might be perfect, but I don't know.
We'll see. It's going to be a massive announcement tomorrow, isn't it?
Is that? I hope not.
Is it not tomorrow? I thought you said they were telling us tomorrow. Probably.
I was taking the piss. Normally things get announced. We were just like, we'll have to wait and see. And it's, they'll probably turn up. I don't know. What's Tom Booth Amos?
Lying in hospital at the moment.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Man, he knows how to chuck a bike down the road, doesn't he? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's doing World Supersport as well on top of British Supersport. So he's got a pretty busy year as well. He's got 2 contracts he would have to try and get out of.
Who was the guy we had on? We had on the first show of the year, and then the day after he did an announcement. Was it Richard Cooper?
Yeah, Richard Cooper came on. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one. None of us have mentioned Richard Cooper.
I did just now. Richard Cooper, I'd say,
because he rides.
Because
he rides an R6
yeah,
already.
That's a very good. That's probably the best.
You're welcome.
That's the best shout out so far. Really.
Finger on the pulse of. It might actually be him. If it's him, then someone owes me money. I think that's phone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be a good ride to see Richard Kerr get. Of course, already doing the roads this year as well on the R6, some of the Supersport rounds as well, and he's doing the F900 Cup with FHO.
He's busy, Jesus. Yeah, and then because when we spoke to him, he was doing nothing or almost nothing.
No, it was just the roads he was doing.
Yeah, and then he announced like everything the following day. It was like, it was something like that anyway. But let us know who you think would be suitable to replace Tim Neve in BSB for maybe the rest of the season. Maybe they might want to mix it up and just go with one person for a few rounds and then another person for the rest of the season. Who knows what will happen, who it might be. Maybe Bradley Smith.
Yeah.
I'd like
maybe we should get him on the show.
He'd probably just deny it though, and we did get him on actually a while back.
Yeah, I was on that show.
Yeah, I mean he's a good lad. He's Brad. Was
I think he upset quite a few people when he said he was going to turn up to do a GP2 round, and then said he was going to go motocrossing on the Thursday, didn't he?
I don't want to say too much about that because I don't know the details, but it sounds more like that might have been a honest miscommunication between two parties. But yes, a lot of people were looking forward to seeing him in BSB, and he would be a big name, obviously, with his history and stuff in GP. it'd be good to see him, to be honest. Back on a bike and approaching.
He seems the sort of person. If it's not a MotoGP ride, he's not interested really
He kind of did say that when he was on the show.
from the outside.
But I mean, he's not doing anything else. Why not? You know, he's still got a lot of racing to do, I suppose. But I don't know, if he's not feeling it, then he's not feeling it. But we'd love to see him anyway. Right. What else are we mentioning? Red Bull Rookies, the Cup that happened at the weekend. Hashtag Dutch GP and Casey O'Gorman ended up with a podium in a crazy end to race number 1, Lewis.
Yeah, it was a great race that went down to the final couple of laps, and yeah, there was just riders all over the shop. It was exactly what we expect from Red Bull Rookies. Equal machinery, everyone's really quick, but Casey O'Gorman managing to get a podium in race 1. He was buzzing with that one.
Could have been a win.
I believe it was. Yeah, it could have been a win if he tried to go around the outside at the final chicane, and it just kind of got blocked in. He couldn't make any moves stick. He was up to second place by that point. I do believe, obviously, just watching on the TV screen, and this is obviously hindsight as well, I do believe if he went to the inside and tried to make a move at that final chicane like you would traditionally do, he probably would have picked the race win, because slipstreaming at the line isn't such a massive thing at Assen, because it's not too long to the line once you come out of the chicane. So yeah, it was so close to the race win, but he was still happy with the result, and so he should be, because everyone was racing really, really clean. And race 2 as well, 4th place for him. Really impressive there. I was actually reading some quotes from him after the race, and he thought that the rider in front of him went over the green and was going to get demoted 1 position, so he didn't bother overtaking him. So he just sat there in 4th, and he went over the line, and of course he didn't end up running over the green, so there was no positions changed, so he ended up in 4th position. But he admitted that was a mistake in his own self. But yeah, Red Bull Rookie is really great, and Angel Piqueras as well, winning his 7th race win of the season after doing the double at Assen, I believe. And he also became the 2023 Red Bull Rookie Cup champion with 4 races to go, and with almost 100-point advantage as well. So, well, over 100-point advantage. So, yeah, really impressive. I think it was 111 points it was. So, Piqueras winning the championship, or winning the Cup, with 4 races to go. But great seeing Casey up at the front.
Definitely a couple of good races for Casey O'Gorman, and congratulations to the new champion. And that might be the earliest champion in the world this year.
Yeah, it's the first champion of the year anyway, motorcycle racing. Yeah. So
even before Bautista.
Yeah.
Crazy. But just shows, will he actually do the remaining races though?
Yeah, I mean, that's to see why
he might get the McCams. He might get the McCams. Right?
Who knows? But yeah, he might as well, if he's got nothing better to do, stick around. But I know, even at like fab level, you know, riders who secure the championship before the end of the season, and then they don't show up and race at the last round. You know, that's happened in the past. No names. But, you know.
What do you mean? I've always done it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you. But
you were looking at me with those eyes then on every round. The last
sorry.
2.
My eyes. But anyway, no, great job from O'Gorman to finish the race, first of all, because that's never guaranteed in that crazy pack, especially when at sometimes it feels like they've all got it in for you. So to get a podium in race number 1 and almost a podium in race number 2, fantastic result. What is, I don't really want to even ask, but what's going on with Eddie O'Shea at the moment? Because he's...
That's your answer. No one really knows. I mean, he did have that injury, of course, with his leg.
He's dealing with some problem. That's the only thing I can think it could be. Because he's got the talent and he's got the speed. And he doesn't need to prove anything there. Because I was really surprised to see, you know, in the timesheets at the weekend, just keep scrolling. And we're like, oh shit, he's like, it's right down there.
Didn't he get knocked?
Did he get what?
Back from far back on the grid, didn't he? Before he got knocked off in race 1, didn't he?
I can't remember, but all weekend I was watching the quali. I was stuck to the social medias and watching the sessions and the times and stuff, and he just wasn't having a good weekend at all, to be honest. Yeah. As I said, I don't even really want to talk about it because I've got nothing bad to say about Eddie O'Shea because anyone who knows Eddie O'Shea loves Eddie O'Shea, and everyone knows that he's quick, but he's probably just dealing. We should just get him on the show and ask him, I think. Just to sort out.
He'll be racing this weekend, of course, in the Junior GP. He's currently 10th in the standings at the moment for the British Talent Cup, British Talent team. Sorry, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which, funnily enough, the Junior GP Championship, sorry to butt in, but funnily enough, it's getting led by Angel Piqueras as well, and he has a 65-point lead in that championship as well. So another Spaniard showing the pace in the Junior Championships.
I'm just going to have a look at the entry list for this weekend because last time out, I think the Mike Release Cresswell team did. The whole team from British Talent Cup went and entered. I think it was last time out, or it might be this round. I can't remember. That's why I wanted to check. But they've basically signed up to do a few rounds, and this might be one of those rounds. So we could see like Harrison Desoy racing this weekend. Let me check. But yeah, other stuff that's also going on this weekend.
Harrison Desoy will be racing this weekend. He's on the entry list for the European Talent Cup, and he will be riding for the Vision track team this weekend. So there we have it.
Okay, interesting. Who was on that bike?
Reece Stevenson was on it for the past couple of rounds.
So is Reece not there now?
Doesn't look like it at the moment anyway. Unless I've just missed him on the entry list. But yeah, it looks like Stevenson's no longer at the Vision Track team for the rest of the season. So yeah, it's just Desoy and Gorman this weekend.
Interesting. You know what I'll do? I'll message him, see what's going on. He never tells me anyway. He always tries to tease me and says, I'm just getting on a plane to maybe somewhere. And then like after we do the show on the Tuesday, then announces on the Wednesday. That's something. So yeah, will you be watching Jay this weekend?
I am. I probably won't be. I'm not going to lie. I am working all weekend, but I will have it on record and I will watch it when we get home.
Okay, fair enough. To be fair, there is a lot going on this weekend.
I'll be watching all of the Donington races.
The ones that are even recorded anyway.
Yeah.
Which may not be the British Junior Supersport Championship.
No, I'm going to have to try and find out on live time.
Shame that they don't. They might, but I don't know. I've not heard anything to say that they definitely are. But there again, I'm not locked either. Just going off what they did last year, or didn't do. Which was a tragedy. So, yeah, we'll see what the internet has to say about that. What channel's it on? What? Eurosport? Never heard of it. Yeah, what is the thing with Eurosport and TNT? Because BT Sport's going now.
Yeah, it's 16th of July or something like that. It's changing middle of next month.
So has TNT already launched?
No, not yet. Not yet. They're just like advertising it now on BT's website and BT's advertising. I think they're hoping that once that date arrives, it's going to be a smooth transition for everyone and they're both going to merge and it's all going to work perfectly. But whenever that happens, it's going to be a different thing. It's middle of the season as well, so perfect time for it.
Obviously, they're doing their whole structure around the football season and not like everyone else's normal season. So, just shows what they care about, really. What the priorities will be.
It's the home of bikes, actually, on the advertisements.
Yeah, that's just like the algorithm that you see. It'll be just like, the home of bikes because it knows that you like bikes. And then to someone who likes football, it'll be like, the home of football. Oh, they are. Yeah, they're me. They're all about me and things I like. In the hope that you spend more money with them. But yeah, I've been promising this all season, but we'll do a proper look at what the hell is going on and how you can watch it. And more importantly, how much it's all going to cost.
Once they actually release all of that, because I'll be surprised if they even know themselves at the moment, because barely anything's been released publicly about what the changeover is going to be like.
I know people who work in the Discovery, Warner Discovery, and the soon-to-be TNT, and even they don't even know what's going on, or their managers don't even know what's going on. It's a whole shit show, basically. No one knows what's going on, but you can be guaranteed it's going to cost you more money. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. Anyway. Right, Jay, are you still there? Is he crashed?
I'm still here. I'm just about awake.
Thank you for sticking with us. All right. I know it's been a tough couple of hours.
I believe.
Wow. Yeah, thanks anyway.
I've soldiered on.
So you're working this weekend and being boring. And Lewis, you're going to Donington. And
sure, yeah. 50, flip a coin.
We all know you're going to Donington. So, but if you're not going to Donington, you might want to head to Cadwell Park. Bemsey's on this weekend, or if you just want to check out the FIM World Supercross at Villa Park in Birmingham. Birmingham, United Kingdom. Then that's on. Apparently, it's a new thing that they started like last year or the year before or something. It's a thing. It's only on the Saturday, though, so if you're in the area, check it out. MXGP, Indonesia, Junior GP and European Talent Cup, Portimao, and, of course, the World Superbike Championship and Supersport Championship. Hopefully that is on a channel, filmed somewhere, something. We'll film it. We'll do it. Motorsport Media. We'll turn up with a few cameras.
Make some calls.
No. Anyway, Jay, thank you very much for agreeing to come. I think he has actually fell asleep.
No, I'm still in.
Okay, good. That was just like you're holding string.
It's been great to be back. Yeah, I look forward to being on again next week to talk about all the amazing results that the British lads had at Donington.
Yeah, everyone did really well.
In the pouring rain.
Yeah.
I better go now because it's too late. And anyway.
John McPhee double win.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all getting a bit crazy now, I think.
You can tell he's had lack of sleep.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you anyway, once again, for tuning in to the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. Lewis, let us know what it's like at Donington this weekend, because you're obviously definitely going.
Obviously.
Even though you've not told your parents, or maybe you've just...
I've got nothing's booked, no camp. The camping's sold out, actually, which is the main thing to turn me away, because it's like 4-hour drive.
Car
park.
Yeah. And you should also just, get the official approved camping where possible. But if it's all sold out, what can you do? Anyway, so let us know what you end up doing this weekend, Lewis. And thank you once again for tuning in to the Superbike Show. Download and listen as well. In the morning, Jay, listen to The Breakfast Show, Monday to Friday, 6 till 9.
This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.